This is a 5th grade lesson about art that creates optical illusions. Our Common Core standard is engage effectively in a range of collaborative discussions with diverse partners on grade level topics, building on others' ideas and clearly expressing their own. Review the key ideas expressed and explain their own ideas and understanding in light of the discussion. So our big idea in the 5th grade is art as a reflection of culture. And we're doing Module 2 from the Arts Instructional Guide. Artists make choices based on their values, opinions, and personal insights. The standard we'll be working with is 4.4, assess their own works of art using specific criterion and describe what changes they would make for improvement. Our objective is to understand how artists make choices about their work, why personal choices are important in art making, and what those choices can tell us about the artist. So today we're going to look at art based on optical illusion. So of course we have to go over what is optical illusion, and it's something that plays tricks on your eyes. And the artist that pretty much started it all was Victor Vasarely. And you can see here, when you see one of his paintings, it looks as if it's three-dimensional, where of course it's two-dimensional. This is a painting, but it's mathematically precise and painted so carefully that we really get the idea that we're seeing something three-dimensional. Vasarely started making this kind of art back in 1938, but it really wasn't until about 1966 that we came up with the term op art, and much of that was talking about art that created the optical illusion of movement. And this is pretty typical of that. If we look at it, if I have the students just peer softly at the center, the whole thing looks as if it's vibrating, almost pulsing. And that's very typical of op art. Here's some op art. And I tell them to pick any place on the entire thing and just try and focus on one point and see if they can. And then they all start laughing because there's no way. Your eye just keeps moving and the whole thing seems to be moving around. And then we talk about other artists who've had a lot of fun creating optical illusions. One is M.C. Escher, who was just a wonderful draftsman. Somebody who draws. We don't call them a drawer like we call someone who paints a painter. We call them a draftsman. So we can see here that Escher has one hand drawing, the other hand drawing it. Here's some more of his. In this one, he's gone from a black foreground and gradually changed into the black being the background, and the same with the white. The white's the background here, and as we move it becomes the foreground. And rather than talking about negative and positive space with this, I do use the words foreground and background because I think they're certainly much more useful to the students in the general run of things. And again, here's another one where Escher has a puzzle, and these little caimans, they're like tiny alligators. And it's flat in the puzzle, it's two-dimensional, and yet he has them coming out of the puzzle, becoming three-dimensional, crawling around his drawing board, and coming back in and becoming two-dimensional again. So again, he had great fun with creating optical illusions. This one is Gustav Berbick, and he was very well known for his cartoons that were basically reversible. And if we look at this one, we see that we've got a bird holding a baby. But if we turn it upside down, we've got a man in a boat I guess he's being attacked by the tail of a giant fish next to a little island. So the kids really love this. And this one is the logo for the National Aquarium. And is it fish or is it waves? It's both. And then these two are very well known. If we look at this one, again, is it a duck? Is it a bunny? And this one is probably one of the best known. This one, and it takes them a few minutes for them to be able to see the old woman and the young woman. So that one we have to explain a little bit, but they really like it, and they get something out of it. And then we take a look at this one by Jasper Johns, certainly one of the best known of the living artists. And they look at it, we read the title, Cups 4, number 4, Picasso, and slowly they start seeing, oh wow, there's faces there, along with this kind of trophy called a loving cup. So, and we have the 4 profiles of Picasso when he was an older man, so he has a little double chin and the bald head. And I tell them, okay, we're going to do that today. And one reason I do this lesson is because so many of my students did not get any head drawing in the 4th grade, when that's when we do it, if we're following our standards. So I show them that we're going to learn to draw the profile of a head, and we talk about profile and silhouette. And I show them that we draw the profile, and then the piece that comes out of the middle, like the puzzle, we're just going to glue on the other side. So we have the reverse of what's on the front side. And I also show them that we've got lots of scribbles and things on the side that we've glued down so that they can see it. And if we're going to be drawing a head, we need to know something about the proportions of the head. And I show them that the eyes are in the middle of the head. And I remind them that at Halloween, we see lots of skulls, and think how big the top of that skull is. We forget that the eyes are not in the middle of the face, they're in the middle of the head, because hair covers a great deal of our head, and we forget that. We forget that our head doesn't quit at the top of our face, and that halfway between the eyes and the chin is the bottom of the nose. So that's something important that we're going to need when we begin drawing our profile. So I let them have choices as part of their paper and choices as the color of their paper. And I very quickly go over complementary colors again, encouraging them to use them. And we fold our paper and put the fold on the right-hand side. Now, I make sure that they can see this while we're working. Maybe I'll put it over here, so we can see that profile while we're working. And we use our fingers to measure. So I show them we want to use about 2 fingers down here to create this. So we bring our finger right down to the edge of the paper and just make a little mark. We're going to call that mark 1. Then we're going to do exactly the same thing at the top of the page, and we'll call that 2. Now, we're going to put 2 fingers here again above mark 1, make a line, that's going to be mark 3. So right now, we're going to go ahead and create the bottom under the cup. So we're going to draw a line straight out as close to parallel to the bottom paper as we can get. And then we're going to take line 3, and we want to curve it down, but we don't want to come all the way to the outside. So we can make a little mark there and just curve line 3 right down there. And I tell them if they make a mistake and they want to check, scribble it out. Don't take time to erase. Nobody's going to see this. So now if we look, we've got the bottom of the cup right here. There it is, right there. So it's the chin line, the neckline, and the bottom of the chin. Now, we want to go ahead and figure out where we're going to put the head. So this is the bottom of the chin, this is the top of the head. We want to get the eyes in the middle. So how can we do that? And somebody comes up with, well, we fold the paper. So we're going to put the top of the head and the bottom of the head, which is the bottom of the chin, together. So we're going to put mark 2 and mark 3 together just hold it and just pinch. That will mark where the center is, and that can be mark 4. There we go. Now we want to know where the bottom of the nose is going to be, and we remember that was halfway in between the eyes and the chin, and this time we put mark 4 and mark 3 together, pinch, make the mark, and that's mark 5. Now, at mark 4 is going to be where the eyes are, right here. And we can see that really comes in a lot. Here would be the middle. This really comes in a lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put our 2 smallest fingers right there. Make a little mark there and bring that over. So now we have a place for that. That's where our eyes are going to come back. And now, I want them to get used to the idea that you turn your paper so that you can use your body better to draw. So I tell them, okay, let's make this. And if we look at it, if we look at just this part, kind of looks like a question mark. So let's do that. Turn it like this, and let's just make a question mark. And we don't really need the period under it since we're not punctuating anything. So we can go here. And we've got this. We're really making a lot of headway now, aren't we? If we look from here, this line is going to come out, and then it goes back. So we know it's got to be out in front of this. So now we can take this line and curve it out and bring it down. But when we get close, we just want to curve it back to line 4. And there's our forehead. If we take a look, this is a slanted line. So let's bring line 5 out. We don't want to go all the way to the middle, but we now can make a slanted line right here at 5. And then let's just connect this. But we really don't want a pointy nose, so let's round it off. Maybe bring it back a little more. And then the lips. So for the lips, we're going to go greater than. Everybody knows a greater than sign. Then we want the next one to be smaller, and I explained to them that if you have your bottom lip coming out as far as your top lip or even further, it's going to make them look like they're angry, like they're sticking out their bottom lip. So we want to make this greater than start in a little bit and make it a little bit smaller than we did the first one. And then at that point, all we have to do is curve around and gently make a curve for the chin. And remember, you can scribble through anything. This chin needs a lift, so I'm going to put a lift on this chin. And that's the profile. Now, all we have to do is cut. What we want to do, though, is we want to make sure we stay folded. We're going to cut right on the line, all the way around, and here we want to make it a little bit curved. Then we're going to go to the nose. Make sure we cut that curve in the nose so we don't have a pointy nose. And again, with the lips, the same thing. Round them out a little bit. Go, cut on the chin lift, make sure we don't cut the paper in half, and then cut it out, and there we have it. And it's the same on both sides because we cut it. Now, we want to make sure that everybody understands that the wrong side is the side with all the pencil marks. It's not very pretty. it's got scribbles and mess. So the side with the pencil marks is the side for the glue. And we'll be gluing this down on one side. I'm going to just tack it on. I don't want to spend time gluing. So we can just tack it on. Oop. And again, I keep talking about, remember, put the glue on the ugly side, the side with the pencil marks. So we can do that, a little bit up the front, a little bit there, and tack it down. Now, at this point, this is when we approach that standard about personal choices, because even though we've chosen different colors, we do need to have something that's our own in it. So what I have them do, since we've got two faces looking at each other, but they're exactly alike, I ask them to think about some personal conflicts that they have. One part of them wants to go out and play, and the other part wants to go sit on the couch and play video games. So they need to think about conflicts in their life and things they enjoy and other things that they enjoy, but they can't do them at the same time, so they're always having to make choices. And think about those things, and I want them to draw symbols of them. If they want to, they can write some words in the two heads of things that contrast. We're talking about contrast here. So their artworks end up being very personal. I give them colored pencils so they can draw and write in different colors, and that's where we come in with making the personal work of art. And that's our fun optical illusion art for 5th grade.